UFC 313, Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. I'm here to provide you my full card picks and predictions for the card. Now, before we get started, let's just quickly recap last week's card, which was UFC Vegas 103, and we had a banger weekend. I mean, very, very due for a banger weekend, not just predictions, but with bets. The next video will be strictly bets, so stay tuned for that one because we killed it there as well. But in terms of the predictions, I mean 7-3. We could just run through it really quick. There were only 10 fights, originally 12 scheduled, 2 were canceled. We had first dog of the card to beat Charles Johnson by TKO decision. That hit. We had JJ Aldridge in a parlay and also to win by decision. That hit. We did lose the Lucas Almeida underdog, but I did put on the graphic as well, plus 3.5. I mentioned it also in the video, plus 3.5. That hit because he did lose by split decision. And then we had Chepeto win by decision. That also hit. We had Pinto by TKO decision. That also hit. We did lose the Sam Patterson or the Danny Barlow prediction, but if you check the bets video, we did have him winning in the spin, which means that we put a half unit on that, and that ultimately hit too. So can't be too bad about that, and that's why you should check out the bets video as well. Then we had Haider Emil as an underdog to win by TKO decision. That hit, and also the plus 3.5 hit. We had Nasrat Haqparast to win by decision, also the plus 3.5. Back-to-back dogs that we hit. I mean, the reads were reading. And then we had Marquez to win. He didn't, but I did say this was a red flag fight. I didn't trust either of them. And then we had Manel Kape to win. Now, I did say by decision, ultimately it was a TKO. Had they stopped because of those eye pokes, probably would have gone to decision, and he probably would have come through, really won that too. But regardless, like I said, 7-3 in the predictions, had a lot of dogs that ultimately won, or plus 3.5 spreads that I did recommend. So can't be too mad, and like I said, we'll go through the bets in the next video. But I'm going to try to keep this video as condensed as possible in terms of the predictions, just because, you know, I know a lot of you are here from my 10-minute TikTok videos, and now I'm doing 40 minutes, so we're going to try to stick to about 20 to 25 for the predictions. I'm going to try to say as much as I can. We'll see how it goes, and let me know in the comments which one you prefer, because obviously I know listening to me for 40 minutes probably could be a lot as well. But regardless, like I said, let's get started on this card. We'll just quickly run through some early prelims, and then we'll go into the nitty-gritty with the important fights. So let's get started. Like I said, there are 12 fights now on the card. We won't even start with the added one because that's this fight right here. We'll start with Jordan Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. Now, straight up, obviously, Jordan Santos is coming from Contender Series, and he did pick up a decision win, where ultimately, I mean, pretty standard, solid, out pretty much doubled the striking against Will. And he's facing someone, Ozzy Diaz, who's 0-2, just slow. Striking's not as good. His chin is trash. Just not impressive at all. 79-inch reach. Actually, is it there? No, they don't have it here. 79-inch reach versus Santos 75. So that might actually help Ozzy Diaz just kind of keep him at range for a little bit. But ultimately, I just don't see how long he's going to be able to do that, especially how weak his chin is. I'm just going to go straight up. I'm going to go Jordan Santos to win by knockout or TKO. I think it happens probably within the first 2 rounds. And then Ozzy Diaz gets cut because he shouldn't have been in the UFC in the first place, to be honest. So we're going to go with Jordan Santos to win by knockout or TKO to start off this banger card, to be honest. Now, next fight was an added fight because John Castañeda was supposed to fight last week. Obviously, his opponent wasn't able to fight, so they brought in Chris Gutiérrez, who is at this point a UFC vet. He has at least 10 fights in the UFC, I believe, at this point. He does have the 3-inch reach advantage, but the 4-inch reach or height advantage, and the 4-inch reach disadvantage, 2-inch leg reach advantage, which is going to be big because Gutierrez does love those leg kicks. Castañeda, I did like him in his original matchup last week, and honestly, I still kind of do like this matchup here for him. Obviously, Gutierrez is coming in on short notice. He's also lost to Song Yadong, which isn't bad. He actually picked up a win in his last fight. against Kwang Lee, where he just outstruck him. Just still takedown defense is a little shaky here and there sometimes, but ultimately sometimes I don't trust his cardio just coming in so late. I know he can do 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 against someone like Song Yudong, but he was also very stagnant in that fight. And someone like Castañeda has just been hungry. He's been ready to fight. Obviously, he picked up a loss in his last fight against Marcos, but I think he's just ready to scrap here. And I don't think either is going to be too impatient. They're both going to be trying to take each other's heads off, obviously, but it's not going to be like a brawl, so to speak. I would say, honestly, I do see this going the full way, which could be scary betting against someone like Gutiérrez, but I still like Castañeda here. I mean, he is obviously just like a slight dog on FanDuel, minus 120. So not too bad, to be honest. Honestly, as someone who's been ready, who's been in camp for months already. Obviously a different matchup here, but still, I still do like him to win. And like I said, I don't think either of them gets a finish. So I'll go John Castañeda to win by decision. Now, next fight of the night, we have Marion Santos versus Francis Marshall. Now, same height, same reach. We don't have the leg reach for Maron Santos. We know he's going to be trying to knee the hell out of him. Now, first and foremost, this is honestly, for the odds itself, kind of scary. Santos is a minus 350 on FanDuel. He was a 370. I don't like that, honestly, at all. I mean, he's still very young. He's 14-1, so he has the experience, the experience before the UFC. That was a great win to beat Ofli. Obviously, we know Ofli's not all that, but he's lost to Dan Argueta before in LFA. And you know how it goes. I mean, he was 11-0 fighting someone that was 7-16. That is god awful. Francis Marshall 8-2 did beat Bazooka in his last fight. It was a split decision win. I believe we even had Dennis Bazooka in that fight too. But lost to Bulgarian, not a bad loss. Lost to Gomez in a split decision, not a bad loss either. I'm still leaning Myron Santos, but I don't think either of them gets finished here. I mean, both are very, very tough young dudes here. The chins are going to hold up. I think eventually they probably will get gassed and it'll probably look like a bar fight going into the third round. I still lean, like I said, Marion Santos, but I would not take that money line at all. Minus 350 seems a little insane for someone that was 11-0 fighting someone who's 7-16. Like I said, Francis Marshall is good. If he is able to land a takedown or two, it's definitely going to help him, and it'll level out. Wouldn't be surprised if it was 1-1 going into the third. And then I think Marion will ultimately just get more strikes up, more output, and will probably end up winning a decision. But we'll talk about the betting standpoint of this fight in the next video in a few days. But I still lean Myron Santos to win this by decision. Now, next fight, we have Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. Now, same height. Leal does have the 2-inch reach advantage and the 1-inch leg reach advantage. I'm going to have Chris post a graphic of Leal because that brother literally looks like he is training to be Mr. Olympia. Homie he's got the roid back knee. Like, I just don't understand how he's able to fight. He literally looks like prime Vitor Belfort. It's very scary. And I just think at this point, first of all, that fight against Renault, it was close. Even statistically, it was so fucking close. And I think we had Renault, and it was close. I can't say it was a robbery. It was close, but Leal probably should have won that fight. But regardless, only fighting the UFC thus far, and he's fighting someone in Morono who is old, kind of washed. He's lost his last 2 split decisions to Daniel Rodriguez, even though D-Rod should have won that regardless. Lost to Nico Price in Big 2024. That's not a good look. I'm going to go Carlos Leal here. I know the odds are gross. Leal is a minus 770. Would I take that? Absolutely not, and I would advise you not to as well. But there's no value in the Morono side. I don't care. I know he's plus 470. There's still no value. His chin is not there. He's looking slower. it's getting rough for Alex Morono fans. So I'm not even gonna bother. Leal looks juiced as hell. He's been doing his push-ups. He's been injecting something. So give me Carlos Leal to win this by knockout or TKO. I don't think this goes to the distance, to be honest. He probably finishes him in the second, maybe even late in the third. We've seen that happen to Morono where he's winning and then Ponzinibbio just absolutely starches him. So don't be surprised if Leal does the same thing. But if the cardio holds up, obviously he needs to lay off some juice. But regardless, give me Carlos Leal to win by knockout or TKO. Next fight. Ooh, Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. Now, right off the bat, I'm letting you know right now, I've got the red flag up here. The red flag is on this fight because if you all know, I'm a big Bruno. I wouldn't even say a Bruno Ferreira fan. I'd say a supporter because he has won us some coin before, like some big boy coin, like I could pay my rent coin. And he's facing someone in Petrosyan who just got highlight reeled by someone with one eye, which is scary. But here's the thing. Petrosyan, 4 inches taller. I haven't done math in a while. 4 inches taller. Ferreira does have the 1 inch arm reach advantage and 3 inch leg reach disadvantage, which is going to be big because Ferreira is going to be looking to try to leg kick Petrosyan because of his long, lankier stance. Try to chop down that tree. Try to just set things up to just land power shots against someone like Petrosyan, who obviously doesn't have the best chin in the world, we can say. But the one thing that still scares me about Ferreira is that, okay, like he beats Gregory Rodriguez because Gregory Rodriguez forgot how to fight, and then loses to Ruziboyev, beats Phil Hawes. That does not matter. I mean, I feel like half the people watching this video could beat Phil Hawes, and then beats Stoltzfus, made so much money on that, and then lost to Abus, where it was, I wouldn't say it was close. I think Abus had clear advantages, and obviously he just got subbed. Now Petrosyan's coming into this on a 2-fight losing streak. Got subbed by Vieira. I mean, that's not a crazy thing, you know what I'm saying? And then he lost to Sherabullet where he got double spinning back fisted. No diddy. So obviously we're going, oh, he has no chin and he's facing a bulldog in Ferreira. But regardless, I still think Petrosyan's striking is just a little better. I would say it's a little cleaner. I should say it's a little cleaner if he's able to just withstand that first early onslaught. It's not like a Sherabullet where Sherabullet's just trying to piece you apart, pick you apart, which is why I went to the second round. That first round, I wouldn't say it was, one-sided. It was pretty close. I mean, Petrosyan outstruck him by 12. So obviously, like, they were doing the thing, but still, Sherabullet was clearly winning the fight. I remember I took Petrosyan at like a plus 300 or something. It was pretty decent value. But here, I believe he's the favorite. He's minus 156 on FanDuel, and I'll be so honest with you, I don't hate it. If he's able to just survive that first round, Ferreira has no cardio. He starts breathing heavy. Petrosyan, as long as he doesn't get hit with anything crazy, which is the scary part, and which is why it's a red flag, he can win this. So I like Armen Petrosyan to win this, but red flag fight. Regardless, give me Armen Petrosyan to win this by TKO or decision. Yeah. Next fight. Joshua Van versus Rei Tsuruya. Rei, an inch taller. Cool. 3 inches in reach, which is very solid, and 1 inch leg reach advantage. Now, Joshua Van was supposed to fight Bruno Silva. Obviously, Bruno Silva just got smoked by Manel Kape a few months ago. But I still think that's the more dangerous fight for someone like Joshua Van, to be honest. Just striking-wise, he can get pieced up by Bruno Silva. He's not getting pieced up by Rei. We know that for sure. Now, Rei, he's not lost so far in the UFC. If we count road to UFC as well, 3-0. Then beats Carlos Hernandez, just 3 takedowns. I mean, he's relentless. He averages 5.5 takedowns a fight. He's averaging two strikes, almost 2.28 strikes a minute, and he's only absorbing 1.31. Obviously, 2 of these 4 fights did not go to decision, so not too much to go base off of, especially when you're landing 8 takedowns in a fucking fight. 8 out of 15. Now, here's the thing. Josh Rizvan, 80% takedown defense. People have still gotten takedowns. Djorden landed 2. Bunes landed 2. Zalgas landed 1 in their first fight, which was a split. But that chin is still there. Charles Johnson has the striking advantage, the cleaner striking advantage against most fighters, and he just out-dogged Josh Rizvan, who clearly won the first round, or the second round, I believe, and then it was 1-1 going to the third. Josh Rizvan got tired, but since then he's picked up 2 solid wins, and his last win was definitely his best one thus far against Djorden. He outstruck him by 95 strikes. Holy fuck, that is crazy. And he was beating the shit out of him. Don't know how it even went to decision. Now, Rey is scary because his ground game is incredible. Also, just to point out, Josh Rizvan is landing 9 strikes per minute. He absorbs 6, but Rey's throwing 2 because he's not looking to strike with him. And if Josh Rizvan understands this, then this should be a clear win for him. Even if Rey lands some takedowns and wins the first round, there are clear advantages for Josh Rizvan to win this fight, even if he loses the first round. And it's a pick-em at that point, which I don't think it will be. I think he'll still likely win the first round very closely. And as long as he doesn't gas out, which he won't, trying to stuff these takedowns, it's more likely that Rey, being on short notice, will gas out first. I think he can get a clean win here. I mean, especially now because the rankings, it's Tuesday, so the rankings just came out, and Josh Rizvan is pissed that he's out of the rankings. He says he doesn't care. He's looking for a statement win here. He might kill Rey. I'm not going to hold you. He might split his body in half. Wouldn't be surprised. So we're going to go with Josh Rizvan here. The odds aren't too bad. Maybe a parlay piece. Kind of scary though, to be honest, at -200. One of our moderators, Salty, has a proven track record of how to bet Josh Rizvan, so we'll leave that at that for the Discord. But it's time and time again, it's pretty damn solid. It's pretty damn straight. But -200 isn't bad. Rey is tough, +154. There is some value for him, to be honest, especially if he's able to land those takedowns. Obviously, the striking's not going to be there too much. Josh Rizvan, if he's in the pocket, he's going to be uppercutting the fuck out of him. So we'll see how that goes. But give me Josh Rizvan to win this by TKO or decision. Now, next up, Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Now, same height. This big boy. 4-inch reach advantage and a 5-inch leg reach advantage for Curtis Blaydes. Not even going to go too much into this. Curtis Blaydes should absolutely win this fight. Just clearly the better fighter. I mean, listen, he's only lost to the best of the best. He hasn't fought in so long already. He's back from that Tommy Aspinall fight. Cool. He's lost to Tommy Pavlovich, Derek Lewis. Okay, but we don't count the Tommy one here. Obviously, Kuniev is not that good. He's young. He's 31. Nice Contender Series fight here. I just don't think that he's gonna do anything, to be honest. If Curtis Blaydes is gonna be able to just land those leg kicks, some oblique kicks, keep him at range. Kuniev doesn't land anything crazy. Even if they go to a clinch situation because of Kuniev, Curtis Blaydes is so good with his defensive wrestling and also just his way of scrambling and getting out of those situations where he might even be able to reverse with his long, lanky ass. Being taller, having the leg reach advantage, he'll probably be able to reverse a lot of situations. If it gets to that point and Kuniev gets tired, I'm not really loving this fight for Kuniev, to be honest. He gets a top 5 guy immediately, top 10. I don't even know where Curtis Blaydes is ranked right now, but I mean, he's inside the top 10 for sure. That's not the spot you want your first fight to be honest. -310. We know the chin can be shaky, but Derek Lewis, Pavlovich, there are signs there, okay? Tommy Aspinall, that's not Kuniev. Kuniev's not chinning him. -310. I don't hate it. I think Curtis Blaydes takes him down at some point, maybe a reversal, and elbows the ever-living fuck out of him. That's just how I see the fight goes. Elbows the ever-living fuck out of him, and then, boom, that's it. So, give me Curtis Razor Blaydes to win this by knockout or TKO. Now, next fight of the night. Bobby King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy. Now, King Green is on a million fight losing streak, isn't he? No, he actually won right before this, like right before Patty. Yeah, Jim Miller. And then he got smoked by Patty. I mean, it wasn't even close, to be honest. He got smoked by Patty, and he's fighting Ruffy, who is undefeated in the UFC. He's 2-0. The Lon Top fight, I mean, could have finished Lon Top. Lon Top is very tough. That's the thing. Lon Top is so fucking tough. And he had him hurt at some point, and Ruffy just didn't want to I guess, exert too much energy knowing that Lon Top could survive that, and he didn't want to get gassed maybe. So he took his time, played with his food, but we know the damage that he can do. We saw what he did to Malarkey. Not going to go too much into this. Bobby Green at this point just keeps his hands down, has no chin. Very scared to even bet on someone like that, to be honest. So not even going to deal with that. You can't trust him at this point. Might look good in the first round, might look a little scary. Could, potentially do something. And then somewhere in the second or third round, Ruffy is going to just spinning heel kick him into oblivion. And then he's probably just going to just flatline. So give me Mauricio Ruffy. I mean, there's no reason to even try to play the value here. There's no such thing here. Ruffy's winning this fight. This is probably the hardest fight for him so far because of the caliber of opponents Bobby Green has fought. Still not in love with it. I'm sorry. So I know it's minus 520. It's gross. I'm not betting him money line regardless. So give me Mauricio Ruffy to win this by knockout or TKO. Now next fight. Amanda Lemos versus Iasmin Lucindo. Now, this also, I'm going to say straight up right now, is a red flag fight. Because you just never know. I mean, listen, she's just literally like a younger version of herself. It's hilarious. Lemos is an inch taller. Lucindo, 1 inch reach advantage. Same leg reach advantage. Lucindo, one of the biggest things about Lucindo right now is that Lemos could have had her. Lemos is fucking 37 years old. And Lucindo's 23. This could be her daughter. I'm not entertaining this at all. It could be a little scary because you never know. Lemos might be able to turn back the clock. But Lucindo's 4-1 on a 4-fight winning streak right now. Obviously, lost a very close fight to Iasmin early. We've seen that Iasmin ain't shit. So, picked up big wins. We saw her wrestling come into play a lot of times in these later fights now, which is big for her development. And it's nice. I mean, she 3 takedowns against Marina Rodriguez. Obviously, Marina, no takedown defense, but has started to learn. So, had they fought maybe 2 years ago or something, or she's fought the Marina 2 years ago, she maybe would have landed 8 takedowns, to be honest. But then 2 against Carolina, 1 against Viana, 4 against Walker. Lemos, 61% takedown defense, obviously with a lot of, fights here. But we saw what Whaley was able to do to her. Even Dern landed a takedown. Obviously, a lot of their scrambling situations and things like that weren't in the hands of Mackenzie Dern. It was because Lemos was trying to take her down, or ultimately landed that takedown. Then got armbarred by Virna. I'm going to go with the younger fighter here. That's what, plain and simple, I'm going to go with the younger fighter. I think that Lemos hits harder. Lucindo's still learning her striking abilities. But with time, she's going to be able to really beat the best of the best. And this could be one of those situations. I mean, it's a red flag fight. I probably won't bet on it, specifically because of the odds. But we'll see. Minus 154 on FanDuel is kind of gross. DraftKings, maybe a straight bet, maybe by decision. I don't think anyone gets finished here. I know they're both big power punchers. Lucindo's going to focus on that wrestling because Lemos is old and she'll get tired doing that. So, give me Iasmin Lucindo to win by decision. Next fight. We only have 3 fights left, guys. We're kind of moving through this right now. I'm kind of happy. Jalin Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Now, same height. Jalin Turner has the 1.5 inch reach advantage and the 4-inch leg reach advantage, going to be major here. Now, one thing about Jalin Turner is always scary to even predict a fight because he's the last person to weigh in every single fucking time. It's like he just wants you to sweat a little bit. Now, Jalin Turner, he's had a crazy UFC start. Started 2-2. We'll do 1-2. Fuck Contender Series 1-2. Then goes on a 5-fight winning streak, just beating the shit out of cans, and then loses to Gamrot, which was close, split decision, loses to Hooker, split decision, beats the shit out of Bobby Green, poor Bobby Green, and then had the win against Moicano and then just abandoned it. And I think because of that, he's coming for blood, because if he loses that, he's lost 4 of his last 5. That is not a good look. And Ignacio Bahamondes, I mean, wins 3, loses 1. He's on a 2-fight win streak now. That last one against Manuel Torres was beautiful. We bet on Manuel Torres. That was stupid. Regardless, 2 first-round finishes. I mean, can't be mad at that. He's fucking throwing. Against Manuel Torres, didn't even last a round. He threw 60 fucking strikes. He's throwing 7 per minute, absorbing off 4.4. Jalin Turner is a little more technical, 5.6, and he's getting hit. He's still getting hit. That's the thing. Obviously, some of these are, get inflated, like the Dan Hooker one was a banger. Jalin Turner is not the easiest person to hit. I think Ignacio Bahamondes definitely gets hit and hurt a lot more. He's definitely more Jalin Turner is a lot more polished in his striking, and he still hits harder. Ignacio might be a little more electric. He might have some more tools to work with, but he still has some rough edges. And I still lean Jalin Turner. I mean, I know he's 14-8. That's disgusting. He's lost 3 of his last 4, 2 splits. I mean, even if he got one of those, this would look a lot different. He should have got the Gamrot one at least. I mean, maybe not the Hooker one, but the Gamrot. It just doesn't make sense. But regardless, I still lean him. I think his striking is cleaner. I think that he's going to be able to. I know this is another thing. They both can't. They have no ground game. Bahamondes clearly probably has the better ground game, because Jalin Turner just can't defend a takedown. But Bahamondes really can't defend a takedown either. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it's really. These type of fights, it's like who leads the dance, who leads the offense. I think Ignacio might move forward more, but it might cost him, because Jalin Turner, with just trying to counter, is going to smoke him. And I think that's when he gains the respect. And I think early could be Bahamondes, and then the tides will slowly shift into someone like Jalin Turner when he just enters that flow state. Because Bahamondes, like we all know, he's shining right now. So he's going to have confidence going into this, and Jalin Turner is going to be looking for blood. Now the odds are very fun, because on FanDuel, he opened up, it was a pick'em, then he was a little favorite. Underdog, back to favorite, to pick'em, plus 104 right now. I love that. But we'll talk about that in another video. Jalin Turner to win by TKO decision. Dog. Big dog. Next fight on the card, we have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Now, Fiziev is obviously coming out on short notice. This should have been Gaethje Hooker, which I probably would have leaned Gaethje still. Obviously, Hooker's been looking very good, but he's been slowing down still, and the level of competition is not Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje probably would have beat the shit out of him. But Fiziev is coming back from tearing his ACL against Gamrot, which honestly we actually had Fiziev in a parlay of the week, and he smoked his leg when he clearly would have won that fight. Well, I would say I'm being biased, but it looked like he was going to win that fight, to be honest. And before that, he did lose to Justin Gaethje, so he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but we know it's really 1. Let's just say we scratch one of those. He's 6-2 in the UFC, to be honest. He had a 6-fight winning streak before losing to Justin Gaethje, which was a majority decision. Close fight, 1-1 going into the 3rd, and then just let off. Just started getting hit way too much. Now, this is scary, because I feel like there's not too much to go based off in terms of stats and things like that, because Gaethje hasn't fought in a long time since he got slept by Max. They put a defending here, lost belt, the BMF. People are ridiculous. So it's a bit scary to bet on him, but obviously Fiziev is coming in on short notice, coming back from an injury. The one thing I will say is, if you've been following Fiziev for a while, he's been ready. He's been looking for a fight for a while. So I wouldn't say he's been in camp, but usually when fighters stay ready, they're training everything. So obviously when it comes to matchups, right? You're not training for a specific thing, but he has fought in Justin Gaethje before, so he knows what to expect. Just a slower version of that. Honestly, It's a 3-rounder, the same as their first fight. Gaethje's cardio is probably going to be there though because he was training for a 5-rounder. Fiziev's cardio might, wear off a little bit towards the end. Could be scary. There could be hesitancy on Fiziev's side because he's just coming back. How's he going to take a Justin Gaethje leg kick? That's scary as hell too. We don't know how that's going to be. But if we're talking about clean, effective striking, it's Fiziev all the way. I mean, his striking is some of the best in the world. I'll be honest, I hope he wins. I love Gaethje, but I hope Fiziev wins. Obviously Fiziev at this point, I was like, Fiziev's 36. Ain't no way. He's 31. He's in his prime of his career. He has better chances at maybe even fighting for a belt, potentially. I think that he's going to learn from those mistakes. I think he's been waiting for a rematch with someone like Justin Gaethje on short notice. That might even be beneficial for him because of like Gaethje not having to prepare for that specifically. He's training for someone like Dan Hooker, completely different styles. Just Dan Hooker, longer reach. The little things like that, doesn't have to worry about kicks the way he does with Fiziev. So a lot of different factors here. I've been talking about this fight for way too much. Fiziev is actually the favorite, which is very scary to be honest. -162. Kind of crazy. I hope the line kind of drops here, and I hope it's like closer to like -140. Then I'll probably entertain it. But I don't think this goes to decision. I think Fiziev finds a way to piece him up. Gaethje's 36. I think it's time to hang it up, brother. Give me Rafael Fiziev to win by knockout or TKO. And last but not least, also, I will learn how to talk less. I apologize. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Now, this fight should have happened a very long time ago, and I'm not going to lie. I need Magomed to win for a future that I have. But regardless of that, I'm trying to move that away. For real, I'm really trying to move that away. Pereira, taller, an inch taller, has the 4-inch arm reach advantage, but Magomed has the 2-inch leg reach advantage. Now, things like this are scary because Magomed obviously has the 4-inch arm reach disadvantage, so he's going to be extending a lot. But on the contrary, he's probably going to be trying to shoot and trying to like fake some shots as well, where he might be able to just land some shots on Pereira where Pereira's not noticing them, because we've seen it before. Obviously, regardless of, we've seen it against Roundtree, we've seen it against Izzy, and middleweight. Obviously, it's a little different. I'm not saying he's going to get cracked by it, but he can get hit. He's hittable. Ankalaev is much less hittable. We've seen it in his career. Obviously, he fought Rakic. Rakic is a great fighter. Pre-injury, Rakic looked like he could have been champ. I don't know anymore, but let's talk about Pereira. There's not much to say, to be honest. I mean, we know what Pereira offers. 9-1 in the UFC. He's defended it 3 times already, which is insane. All in 2024. Ankalaev is 11-1-1 and 1. In the UFC. Got some revenge on Johnny Walker after that no contest where he probably would have won. Beat him, didn't beat Rakic. It was close, but clear 29-28 win for him. Should have won against Jan. Well, honestly, Jan should have beat him, actually. I'm sorry. Jan with those leg kicks. But since then, he's learned how to check those leg kicks. He knows what's coming his way against someone like Pereira. So I don't see the leg kicks being too much of a factor in a 5-rounder, really. I know that sounds crazy, but if there's one thing that Ankalaev is going to need to remember what to do, is to check those fucking kicks. Now, obviously, people view Ankalaev as like some type of wrestler like Khabib. He's not. He's a striker too. I mean, he's not even averaging a takedown a fight. Obviously, they're light heavyweights. He has heavy hands, so not every single one of these fights has gone to a decision. But even, let's just say this one, right? With his one takedown, 1:45 of control. Not the worst, to be honest. This one had one takedown, 3.5 minutes of control. So he knows how to keep these fighters down. I mean, the one against Jan, he had 2 takedowns out of 10 and 11.5 minutes of control. What? He knows how to control those clinch situations, how to control those situations on the ground. Against someone like Pereira, like, we have still yet to see someone, a real wrestler, try to take him down and hold him there. regardless, middleweight, light heavyweight. We're going light heavyweight now. He's still a massive light heavyweight. Ankalaev, though, I think Ankalaev is the perfect package. And I hate to say it, and people are going to hate me for this, but Ankalaev right now, an underdog. When was the last time Ankalaev was an underdog? He wasn't even an underdog against Jan. I have to be on the Ankalaev side here. Bias aside, I have to be on the Ankalaev side. I love Pereira. I just feel like at this point, Ankalaev is he's 30, 32. It's crazy. He's 32. It feels like he should have been champ at 30. He's in the prime of his life. He's a dog. He's a savage. And I think he wins on Saturday. And I think we get crowned a new champion. And I think Pereira likely moves up. And then we see a monster fight there. And then Pereira goes off to the sunset because he's 37. He shouldn't be fighting at 40. He's not going to. He's already stamped his name in legend status. He's 9-1 in the UFC. Even if he's 9-2 and then loses another one in heavyweight, 9-3, and retires, he's an absolute legend of the sport. Give me Ankalaev to win this by TKO decision. And that is UFC 313. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. As always, I appreciate all the love and support. Whether you found me on YouTube right now with 300 subscribers or when you met me at 1 subscriber on TikTok up until 15,000, I appreciate every single one of you. Obviously, the full card predictions are only here, and obviously they have already been posted on the Discord days in advance. So obviously, if you'd like that, the link is somewhere on the YouTube, or follow me on Instagram as well. And the link tree provides everything, but make sure you like this, comment who your favorite fighter is for this specific card. Let's go back-to-back very solid prediction weeks as well. I'm really liking this card. Not too many underdogs I like straight up right now, but there's going to be a lot of live spots for us to attack, obviously, through the Discord and whatnot. But I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the support, and I will see you guys in the next video for the bets. Let's keep cashing.